You are 31 years old, and you are standing in a gas station in Reno, Nevada, at 11:14 p.m. on a Thursday, and you are holding a lottery ticket that is worth $4.3 million. You do not know this yet. You are standing in the fluorescent light checking the numbers with the particular defeated attention of someone who has been doing this for 8 years and has never won more than $12. You check the first number, then the second. Then you stop and start over because you do not trust the sequence. You start over 3 times. The third time you reach the end, and the numbers are the same as the first 2 times, and the ticket is worth $4.3 million. You put the ticket in your shirt pocket, you buy a bottle of water, you drive home, you do not speed. Your apartment is a 1-bedroom in a complex near the university where you work as an administrative coordinator in the registrar's office. $41,000 a year. You have $1,800 in checking, $340 in savings, and $23,400 in credit card debt accumulated across 6 years of being 31 before you were actually 31. The furniture, the car repair, the medical bill, the months where the math did not close and the card was what closed it. You sit on the couch, you hold the ticket, you do not call anyone, you sit with the ticket for 2 hours in the dark. Not because you are calm, because you are trying to locate in a body that has never had a reason to locate it, the appropriate response to a number that large, arriving without warning at 11:14 p.m. on a Thursday. The appropriate response does not arrive. You go to bed, the ticket is under your pillow, you sleep for 22 minutes. This is your life at every level of money that arrives before you are ready for it. Not earned, arrived. The difference between building and receiving. What happens to a person when the number changes overnight and the person has to catch up to it? Every decision made too fast, every relationship tested by a new variable, every version of yourself that the money creates before you can decide who you want it to be. Level 1, the ticket. You tell no one for 11 days. Not your mother, not your best friend Marcus, not the woman you have been seeing for 4 months named Diane who works at a plant nursery, and who you will eventually tell and whose response will be one of the 3 things that defines everything after. You tell no one because you have read enough about lottery winners, a category of person you have studied with the abstract interest of someone who plays the lottery seriously, which is to say foolishly, to know that telling people is the event that cannot be undone. You hire a lawyer first. You find her through the State Bar Referral Service, a woman named Patricia Chen who does estate planning and asset protection, and who has consulted on 3 previous lottery matters in Nevada, and who meets you in her office on a Tuesday and speaks to you for 90 minutes with a precision that is, in the current circumstances, the most comforting thing imaginable. Patricia explains the lump sum versus annuity decision. Lump sum, $2.7 million after the lottery's reduction. Federal and state taxes, approximately 40% combined. Net, $1.62 million. Annuity over 26 years, higher total but taxed annually and dependent on your living to collect it. You take the lump sum. $1.62 million wired to a new account at a bank Patricia recommends, separate from your existing accounts, under a trust structure she sets up in 8 days. The trust costs $4,200. Patricia costs $380 per hour for 12 hours of work. Total legal fees, $4,560. The $4,560 is the best money you will spend in the next 2 years by a margin that is difficult to calculate because the alternative, no structure, no protection, the money sitting in your name in a regular account, has a cost that plays out in slow motion over months. You call your mother on day 12. She cries. You cry. She asks if you paid your bills. You say yes. You have paid off the $23,400 in credit cards in a single wire transfer that felt simultaneously enormous and, in the context of $1.62 million, arithmetically trivial. The credit card debt is gone. The relief of this is specific and physical, a loosening in the chest that you have been carrying for so long you forgot it was a tension. Level 2, the silence breaks. You tell Marcus. Marcus has been your closest friend for 9 years. He helped you move 4 times, lent you $800 once without making it a thing, and is the kind of person whose first response to good news is always about you and not about him. Marcus says, "Are you serious?" You say yes. He says, "Okay, what do you need?" Not, "What does this mean for me?" Not, "Can I have some?" What do you need? This is the correct response. You file it. You tell Diane. Diane says, "How does that make you feel?" She is not asking clinically. She is genuinely curious about your interior, which is one of the things that drew you to her. You say you are not sure yet. She says that seems right. She does not ask about the amount for 3 days, and when she does, she asks because she is trying to understand your situation, not to calculate her position in it. You file this too. You tell your mother's sister, your Aunt Renata, because your mother tells her within 48 hours and you would rather she hear it from you. Aunt Renata's first question is about her son's student loans. The amount, $34,000. The question is asked with a particular framing, not a request, a suggestion that you might want to help since you now can. You feel the architecture of the question and you recognize it, and you do not answer it directly. You say you are still figuring things out. Aunt Renata says, of course, take your time. You do not pay your cousin's student loans, not because $34,000 is significant to you now, but because Patricia told you in hour 3 of the 12 hours. The first no is the hardest. After that, they get easier. If you say yes to the first ask, you are telling everyone in your life what the floor is. Patricia is correct. The no is hard. You say it anyway. Level 3. The spending. You move, not to a mansion, to a 2-bedroom apartment in a nicer part of Reno, $1,650 per month, a building with a gym and a parking structure with assigned spots. The upgrade from $890 to $1,650 produces a comfort that is genuine and a guilt that is also genuine. You sit with the guilt until you understand it is not about spending, but about spending in a world where other people cannot. This is a legitimate feeling. It is not a spending policy. You buy a 2021 Honda Accord, $24,000, cash. Not a Porsche? Not because you cannot afford one, but because a Porsche is a statement and you are not ready to make statements. You quit the registrar's office. 8 weeks' notice. You finish the semester cycle, train your replacement, say goodbye properly. Your supervisor, Linda, tells you she hopes you find what you are looking for. You say you are not sure what that is yet. She says that is a good place to start. What you discover after quitting, the job was not the problem. The job was the structure. Without it, you have 40 available hours per week that the money has not told you how to fill. You are no longer the administrative coordinator. You are not yet anything else. You are a man with $1.58 million and no particular place to be on a Tuesday. This is a problem the financial planning literature does not adequately address. Level 4. The decisions. Patricia introduces you to a fee-only financial advisor named Gordon, who charges $300 per hour and takes no commissions. Gordon is 61 and has advised people in sudden wealth situations, lottery winners, inheritance recipients, early startup employees post-IPO, for 20 years. He has seen the patterns. He describes them without dramatics. The pattern he describes first, the spending surge. Most people in sudden wealth situations increase their spending by 300 to 500% in the first year. The spending surge is not irrational. It is the release of years of constrained desire. It is also depending on scale, survivable or not. At $1.58 million, you have room for a surge. You do not have room for unlimited surges. The pattern he describes, second, the family. The loan requests that are not really loans, the businesses that need seed capital, the cousin's student loans, the aunt who needs a new roof. Gordon says, set a number, a specific, pre-decided number for family assistance. Then the answer to everything else is, I've already allocated what I'm giving. The number you set, $40,000 total, given across 12 months in amounts you decide. This feels small relative to what you have and large relative to what you grew up near, and you sit with this discomfort and do not resolve it, only manage it. You invest $900,000 in a diversified portfolio Gordon constructs, 60% equities, 40% bonds, rebalanced quarterly, expense ratios under 0.10%. You keep $400,000 in a high-yield savings account as liquidity. The remaining $280,000 you have already spent, the car, the apartment deposits, the legal fees, the credit cards, family assistance, and a trip to Portugal with Diane that costs $8,400 and that you will remember for 20 years. The invested $900,000 at a 7% average annual return will double approximately every 10 years. You are 32. You do the math. The math is the first thing about money that makes you feel something other than anxiety. Level 5, the relationship. You and Diane move in together. Her apartment combined into a new place, a house this time, rented, $2,200 per month, a yard, a neighborhood where the streets have trees. The decision is made because you want to live with her and not because the money makes it possible, which is the important distinction and the one you are careful to maintain because money can fund decisions and it can also disguise the real reasons for making them. The money becomes a variable in the relationship in ways that require management. Diane makes $38,000 at the nursery. She does not make less than she made before you won, but relative to you she makes less than before, in the ratio sense, and the ratio changes things even when the absolute number does not. You pay more of the shared expenses. This is your idea, not hers. She accepts it after a conversation in which she names her discomfort clearly. She does not want to feel like a dependent. You say you do not want her to feel like one. You find a structure. You pay rent and utilities. She pays groceries and personal expenses. That is not mathematically equal and is emotionally functional. She also has opinions about the money that are not always comfortable. She thinks the Portugal trip was too expensive for 8 days. You spent $8,400 on it. It was $4,200 more than you would have spent before the ticket. She is not wrong that the $4,200 differential represents a shift in how you move through the world. She is not wrong that the shift requires both of you to recalibrate together, rather than you recalibrating alone and expecting her to follow. You propose 14 months in. Not impulsively. You have been thinking about it since month 8, and you wait because the money is too recent, and a proposal 6 months after winning $4.3 million is a proposal made inside an event, and you want to make it on the other side of the event when the ordinary shapes of your life together are clearer. She says yes. The ring costs $4,800. It is not a large ring. It does not need to be. Level 6. The identity. The question you avoid for 2 years and cannot avoid after them. Who are you now? Before the ticket, you were an administrative coordinator with $23,400 in credit card debt, and a life that was, by most measurable standards, ordinary and constrained and pointed toward a retirement at 67 on a state pension and Social Security. The ticket did not change who you were raised to be. It changed what the constraints were. And the removal of constraints, it turns out, is not the same as freedom. It is the beginning of a harder question. What would you do if nothing was stopping you? You try 3 things. First, you enroll in a ceramics class because you have always been attracted to the idea of making something with your hands, and now you have the time. The ceramics class produces 12 lopsided bowls in 6 months, and a genuine enjoyment that has nothing to do with money and everything to do with the specific satisfaction of a thing made from clay by your own hands. You continue it for 2 years. Second, you attempt to start a small nonprofit focused on financial literacy for first-generation college students, based on your own experience of arriving at 31 with credit card debt that a single financial literacy course at 22 might have prevented. The nonprofit stalls at the incorporation stage because running a nonprofit is a job, and you have discovered that you are not, in the absence of obligation, self-directing about work. You need the structure. The registrar's office was not the problem. The absence of the registrar's office is the problem. Third, you get a part-time job. This surprises everyone, including yourself. You work 20 hours per week at a small architecture firm as an office administrator, $22 per hour, $22,880 per year. You do not need $22,880. You need to be somewhere on Tuesday mornings with a reason to be there. Level 7. The accounting. 5 years after the ticket, you sit with Gordon for the annual review. The portfolio is at $1.31 million. The original $900,000 has grown at 6.8% annually, better than the conservative projection. The high-yield savings account holds $290,000. The house you and Diane purchased 2 years ago, your first owned property, $340,000, 20% down, has appreciated to $390,000 in a market that moved in your favor without your engineering. Total net worth, approximately $1.87 million. You are 36. 5 years ago, you had $1,800 in checking and $340 in savings, and a credit card debt that felt permanent. Gordon says the portfolio is healthy. He says the spending has been disciplined. Not miserly, disciplined. You have spent on the things that produce lasting value, the house, the trip to Portugal, the ceramics equipment, the part-time income that gave you structure. You have not bought the Porsche. You have not renovated a bathroom you do not own. You have not funded a cousin's business idea or paid for an aunt's roof or said yes to anything that was a request masquerading as a suggestion. You have given $40,000 to family over 5 years, as planned. Your mother received $20,000 of it. She used $14,000 to pay off her car and $6,000 to take a trip to the Philippines, her first time back in 19 years. She sends you a photograph from the province. She is standing in front of a house you have never seen, with people you do not recognize, with an expression that is not available in Reno. This is the best $20,000 you have spent. Gordon does not put this in the portfolio summary. Some returns are not in the portfolio. Level 8, the ordinary. Tuesday morning, the architecture firm. You are filing permit documentation and coordinating with a contractor in Sparks about a site visit. The work is not complicated. You are good at it. You have coffee from the machine in the break room that costs 75 cents per cup, and you drink it at your desk, and the desk faces a window that looks at a parking structure, and the parking structure is not beautiful. Diana is at the nursery. Your daughter is 2. Her name is June. She has Diane's eyes and your stubbornness, which is Diane's observation, and which you accept because you have been sitting with the evidence of it for 2 years, and the evidence is persuasive. June goes to a daycare near the house 4 days a week. On Fridays, you take her to the ceramics studio, which has a children's program on Friday mornings. She smears clay. You fire the bowls she produces and keep them on the kitchen shelf where they are. Objectively, the best things on the shelf. The ticket is in a box in the bedroom closet. You kept it. Patricia said you could throw it away after the claim was processed and the funds transferred, that it had no legal value after that point. You kept it anyway. Not as a trophy, as a record. A physical fact of a Thursday night at 11:14 p.m. when the numbers aligned in a configuration that changes the shape of an adult life. You are not the overnight millionaire of the stories told about overnight millionaires. You did not buy the mansion or the boat or the car that makes statements. You did not lose the money in bad investments or family loans or the particular recklessness of a person who cannot locate themselves inside a number that large. You did not become someone else. You became a more financially secure version of the person who stood in the gas station and could not speed on the drive home. Marcus is coming for dinner on Saturday. You will make pasta. He will bring wine that costs $14, the same price he has been bringing wine for 9 years, because Marcus is Marcus, regardless of what is in your account, which is why you told him first and why you filed his response in a place you still carry. The portfolio is compounding. June is smearing clay. The Tuesday is ordinary. After 5 years of learning what to do with a Thursday night that should not have happened, the ordinary is the point. The ordinary is what you were trying to protect when you drove home without speeding and put the ticket under the pillow and sat in the dark trying to find the correct response. There is no correct response. There is only what you do next. You finish the coffee, you file the permit, you go back to work.